Welcome to Summit Point Raceway for Season 7 of the Tanso Racing Group GR86 League. This is Week 1, Race 1. And in this season we have many of the previous season's racers back again, including last year's Pro winner Eric Ronenberg and last year's AM winner Peter Woodmore. Peter's now been upgraded to Pro, so there will be a new AM champion in this season. So let's get on and see how the race evolves. And on the grid, we have newcomer Stuart Court taking up pole position with Eric Ronenberg, last year's winner, in second, Dan Wareham in third, Ryan Dudley in fourth, Mark Proctor in fifth, Tony Lamb in sixth, with Dan Bart Ush, another newcomer, and Jack Holland in seventh and eighth, Lee Rylands and Scott Kostrick in ninth and 10th. Rob Sutherland is back again with Dan Forster as well. Then we have Dave Clark, Neil Kennedy, Pete Woodmore, Niels Kula, Chris Thorpe, Adrian Hatfield, John Johnston, Michael Elms and Stuart Briley bringing up the rear. So that's our grid. Let's see how we go. They are ready to get going. And we're underway, and Stuart takes us out of the lead, but Eric Ronenberg pulls in front as we come up to T1. We go round T1 here. Get through cleanly. Oh no, Mark Proctor is off. Mark Proctor has gone off and is now at the back of the field, unfortunately. Out front it's very close with Eric Ronenberg. Stuart Court finding it out very, very closely. I believe that was Eric that just went off there, giving Stuart the lead as we come round short set of corners, and it's really close with Stuart Court, Eric, Dan Wareham and Ryan Dudley out front. They're put a gap now of about a second or so over the rest of the field, and they're pulling away, but Eric is not giving up easily. He's really putting the pressure on Stuart here. As we come up the straight, start straight for the first time, and Eric is pulling out in front just about. And then we have Dan Wareham now has sneaking in front just around T1. Has he pulled it off? Yes! They've sidelined Stuart there for the moment. Eric just ahead of Dan Wareham, then Stuart. Stuart now is pulling it back. This is awesome racing. This is so close. And Ryan Dudley's sitting at the back there of those three, waiting to pick up the pieces, waiting for them to make a mistake. There's hardly a moment to breathe here. Stuart is now pushing back, putting Eric under more pressure. This is absolute precision racing as they go side by side through this set of corners. It's just amazing. No contact whatsoever. Brilliant racing. So as we come up to the final corner, we've got Eric ahead of Stuart, Dan Wareham, followed by Ryan Dudley. And they're still got a second on the rest of the field. And now Eric is starting to pull away a bit. He's got 3/10 up on Stuart here as we come down the home straight. But Dan Wareham's just pulling out to the side, trying to get the inside track on Stuart Court. And he does. Dan Wirren manages to sneak ahead, and actually Eric loses it, goes out wide and concedes a place to Dan. So Dan is now out front with Eric Rannenberg very closely up behind, and Stewart Ian now sitting in third place while Ryan Dudley keeps an eye on the top of the field. We can hardly take your eyes off of East front four. Now Dan and Eric are starting to pull away a bit. They've put half a second between them and Stewart now. Lee Ryland's starting to catch up on the back of Ryan Dudley as well now. So, as we come down the small second corners, we've got Dan Wirren with Eric 1 and 2 out front. Half a second behind, we've got Stewart Court with Ryan Dudley close on his tail. Ryan's always been there waiting to pick up the pieces. And Lee Rylands is just hanging on there. Then there's another second and a half back to Tony Lamb. And then Scott Kostrick, followed by Rob Sutherland, Dave Clark, Pete Woodmore, Neil Kennedy, Adrian Hophill, Niels Kula. Mark Proctor is now up into 14th. As we come around T1, Dan Wirren is now holding comfortably onto that lead. Eric is starting to put on pressure as we come into T3. Good. Dan makes a slight mistake there and goes off into the gravel and losing traction from that, coming up to the next corner, and that has put the pressure on. Eric is now really up close with Stewart not far behind. Stewart is right on the bumper of Eric. And Ryan's close in behind them. There's literally 3/10 separating the top four, 3/10 each. Ever so close racing. It's really hard to take your eyes off of the front of the field, unfortunately. The rest of the field not getting much of a look in terms of airtime. But sorry guys, this is so close up front. We've got a back marker coming up here. I believe that's Chris Thorpe. He's pulled over nicely. Well done, Chris. That's really good there. Good sportsmanship. Dan Wirren takes it around as he just lost some traction. He's gone a little bit wide. Might give Eric some room to manoeuvre as we come around the last corner. And Eric goes a bit wide there. And we are still Dan Wirren, followed by Eric Rannenberg, Stuart Court and Ryan Dudley. Racing doesn't get much closer than this. Such an exciting league this, the GR86. So competitive. These guys make it look easy, but I can assure you it's not. They've now got a second and a half back to Lee Rylands and another 4.5 seconds all the way back to Rob Sutherland. So leader of the AMS is Pete Woodmore. Not getting much of a look here. Oh, as we go back to the action up front, Stuart Court has now pushed his way back into second behind Dan Wirren, and Ryan Dudley is now making a move up on the inside of Stuart. As we come around, Stuart's gone wide. It's now side by side. We've got Stuart Court with Ryan Dudley on his inside, which is now his outside, and Eric is now back in fourth place. And Ryan Dudley's coming up the inside of Stewart here in the second. No, he's not going to hold it through this set of corners. So as Ryan and Stewart battle here, Dan is getting away. He's now half a second in front, second and third. straight. It is Dan Wareham followed by Stuart Court, Ryan Dudley and Eric Randall. And then second behind them, we've got Lee Rylands, who's now got the fastest lap actually at 1:19.848, fastest lap that time round. Rob Sutherland comes over the line, but he's 5.5 seconds behind the lead back. Now pulling away, he's now 6/10 ahead of Stuart Court and Ryan Dudley as they continue to battle. Ryan Dudley now down into third, pushing Stuart very hard through these final set of turns. As we come around the corner onto the straight. Dudley continues to push Stuart here as we come down into 2-1. Dan Wareham is pulling out further and further, and we seem to have lost Eric Ronenberg. Oh, I missed that. I don't know what's happened there. Let's see. Oh, so Eric lost it. He absolutely lost it there. And that's put Eric Ronenberg all the way back down into 7th place. 8th now. Pete Woodmore's into 7th and is... So with Dave Clark's lead and here, but yeah, Eric's got a long way to come back from there. I'm not sure he's going to make it. So back up front, Dan Wareham still out ahead by 6/10, followed by Stuart Court and Ryan Dudley. Ryan's really close to the tail of Stuart here. Making some moves, trying to get round him. He's not giving Stuart any space to breathe here as coming to T1. Really close. And Ryan Dudley's going to make a move on the inside. Is he going to pull it off here? Which switches back to the outside and then comes up to the inside for this short set of S's. No, I'm not sure he's going to make it here. Not enough space. So Ryan Dudley holds back. Stuart Court, he's still side by side as they come through these S's. This is an amazing drive. Fantastic battle from these two. Some really close racing here. Ryan Dudley tries to make a move as we come around the final corner to the home straight. And Lee Rylands having a little look. Behind Lee Rylands is Rob Sutherland, but 6.5 seconds behind now. And Eric is all the way back in 8th after that mistake out here. Looks like Dan's well away with this. Go and have a look at Dave Clark. He's leading the AMS at the moment, ahead of newcomer Niles Cooler. Niles trying to make some moves on the back of Dave here. Putting some pressure on him here. There's only a couple of tenths between them. And then close up is league owner John Johnston. Niles putting the pressure on. Dave, can he hold it together? Oh, deep on the brakes there. Almost tries to go around the outside, switches back to the inside. No, doesn't quite get his nose in there, which is probably just as well. Dave shuts him off. But there goes Niles. Don't know whether Dave's made a mistake there. Didn't get the traction down quick enough. Niles has gone up his inside. And he's taking him down the straight. So as they go down into T1, but they've got an advantage here. As when you get the toe and come at him in T1. You should see Niles manoeuvres trying to cover the inside of the corner. Yeah, and he covers that off nicely. Dave hasn't managed to get past. Let's go back now and see what's happening up front. See, Dan Wareham is now 7/10 ahead of Stuart Court, then followed by Ryan Dudley. Equally spaced between them, with Lee Rylands now 2.5 seconds behind. It looks like these guys are strung out for a while. They've been doing some hard racing, so I'm not sure whether they've given up a bit for now. Some close battling going on here with Tony Lamb. Got Rob Sutherland ahead of him. It's by 2/10. Tony's making a move down the inside on Rob. Let's see what happens here. See whether he can get past. Into T1, and Tony's got it. Tony's got it. He's taking him all the way on the inside, pushes Rob out, and takes 5th place. Mark Proctor making a... Oh no, Pete Woodman making a move on Mark Proctor. Is Mark Proctor going to make a comeback? Oh, just takes it out a little wide. I think good as it opened up the gap there. Mark's a little bit, squeeze that back. Right, let's see what's going on out front. I think Stuart Court has now started the attack again. I'm Dan Wareham. Coming in closely there. And Stuart Court is really pushing it. Trying to take the race turn. Stuart Court is really on the back of Dan Wareham now. There's literally nothing between them. Yeah, I think Stuart's really going to push, He's going to get down here on the straight. Seems to have backed off round T1. I don't know whether he made a mistake and lost some traction there. Into the final turn, but as they come up to T1, Stuart makes a feint to go to the inside. Dan doesn't fall for it, stays where he is and maintains the place. It's a fantastic line there, pulls on out. Gaps have opened up now. Stuart Court is got ahead of Dan Wareham. and he's now pulling away. Eric's fighting his way back here. He's now up into 6th. Hanging on the back of Tony Lamb. He's got a long way to come. He's a good 11 seconds off the leaders, and we've got some argy-bargy back here. Dan Bartush, Neil Kennedy and Rob Southern all very close together. Rob trying to make a move on Neil Kennedy here. Rob's coming down the straight on the inside. Has he got him? Yes, he's got him. Rob is through on the inside of Neil Kennedy. Good move there. Back straight. Well, Neil Kennedy tries to fight back, but Rob holds on. The sweeping corner. Oh, Rob goes slightly offline. Don't know whether he'll lose traction if we go through the dirt now. Give Neil Kennedy the ability to come back through these set of S's. Nope, it looks like Neil Kennedy lost some ground there. So Stuart Court is back out up front, headed down Wareham by over half a second. Followed by Ryan Dudley, almost a second behind the lead 2 now, and Lee Rylands, good 5 seconds behind them. Eric is up into 5th, back into 5th. It's a good comeback after losing it a couple of laps ago. Whoop. He just makes a small mistake there and now puts him back. Going to be about 1.5 seconds behind the lead 2, 1.3 seconds. So it really is between Stuart Court and Dan Wareham now. It's coming to the final stages of the race. Tenths separate these 2. I don't think Dan's got the traction. Barney's out with a flag. And there we go. There we go. Stuart Court from Dan Wareham, Ryan Dudley. Then we've got Lee Rylands, Eric Ronenberg, Tony Lamb, Bartush, Rob Sutherland, Neil Kennedy. Rob Sullivan takes one more on the line. And Neil Kennedy, followed by Niles, coming over the line. Niles and Adrian Hatfield coming up to the line now. I think Niles going to hold him off. He does. And then we've got John Johnston. Got a nice little train of cars here. John Johnston, Dave Clark, Michael Elms, Stuart Briley and Foster. And there we have it, guys. That is the race. So, final results. So, up front the winner is Stuart Court with Dan Wareham, followed by Ryan Dudley, Lee Rylands, Eric Ronenberg, Tony Lamb, Mark Proctor, Dan Bartush, Rob Sullivan, Pete Woodmore, Noel Kennedy, and on his debut, Niles Cooler, I believe, means he takes the AM. Pete Woodmore's kept his 89. Usually the pros are 3 numbers, but Pete Woodmore's kept his 89, and Niles looks to be the winner there of the AM category in race 1, followed by Adrian Hadfield, John Johnston, Dave Clark, Michael Elms, Stuart Briley, Dan Forster, and the rest after that. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll be back with race 2 in week 1 for season 7 of Tanso Race Group. Visit tansoracing.group.co.uk to come and join the league and see what exciting races we've got on. We've got touring cars on Wednesday nights, GR86 on Sunday nights, not too late to sign up, and we also run some endurance teams, endurance events throughout the year, so do come and join us. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed that. Back for race 2 shortly. Thank you. And welcome to race 2 at Summit Point Raceway with Tanso Racing Group in the GR86 Season 7 after the exciting race 1. I hope that we see more of the same in this race. We've got a reverse grid. So on pole, we've got Pete Woodmore, followed by Rob Sutherland and then Dan Bartosh. And that means the faster drivers are gonna be towards the back, gonna be making their way through, which should make for a very interesting race indeed. So let's get on and see how things go in this race. And away they go, and slow off the line is Dan Bartosh. Sorry, quick off the line is Dan Bartosh as Rob Sutherland comes along on the outside. They've both swamped Pete Woodmore there on the start as they come round into T1. Pete Woodmore now back in 3rd place. Mark Proctor and Eric Ronenberg really hounding him now. Dan Bartosh and Rob Sutherland making some space for themselves up front as they come round into Wagon Bend and over the hill into the chute. As they come round into the carousel now, Eric Ronenberg putting extra pressure on Pete Woodmore. Close behind is Ryan Dudley, not giving them any breathing space here, and Mark Proctor is close behind still. And as we come round Paddock Bend into the start-finish straight for the first time, we have Dan Bartosh ahead of Rob Sutherland, closely followed by Pete Woodmore, and on his tail is Eric Ronenberg, closely followed by Ryan Dudley. As we come down the home straight now into T1, Dan Bartosh is well ahead out front here with Rob Sutherland behind, over half a second behind now. Eric Ronenberg a second behind now in front of Pete Woodmore. Ryan Dudley has passed Pete Woodmore as well. Pete Woodmore gradually losing more and more places here. As we come down the chute and into the carousel, Dan Bartosh from Rob Sutherland up front and Eric Ronenberg is closely chasing, all within a second of each other here. Pete Woodmore looks like he's lost it at the back there. Unfortunately, he's spun. Manages to avoid any contact and he gets back on track. But that's put him well back into 14th place now, as Niles Cooler takes him, putting Pete Woodmore back into 15th. Such a shame for Peter here. Back up front, Dan Bartosh is well away. He's a second and a half in front of Eric Ronenberg now and Rob Sutherland as they fight between them. Rob Sutherland trying to chase down, or at least keep up with Eric Ronenberg. Close behind them, we have Tony Lamb and Stuart Court battling out there for 6th and 7th. Mark Proctor's just taken Lee Rylands, and something there's happened to Michael Elms. Seems to have gone off track and then come back on. Tony Lamb under increasing pressure from Stuart Court. We know how fast Stuart is from the first race. Let's see if he can keep it up. Keeping Ryan Dudley honest there. Just in front, we've got Dan Wareham in 4th place, under pressure from Ryan Dudley. Ryan goes a little bit wide as we come round Paddock Bend, but he may well get the traction going down the straight, and there's plenty of draft to be had from Rob Sutherland in 3rd place as Dan Wareham pulls to the inside. He's going to try and take... Yeah, Dan Wareham completes the pass on Rob Sutherland, and Ryan Dudley is trying to do the same as we come up into Wagon Bend. And it's side by side as we go through here, and unfortunately Rob Sutherland has lost it. He's lost it on Wagon Bend. Wow. So where does that put us? So we've got Dan Bartosh out front, Eric Ronenberg, and we're here with Stuart Court now, following Stuart Court, who's closely being chased down by Dan Wareham and Tony Lamb. And Ryan Dudley in the mix too as he goes over the curbing. Some great racing here from Ryan as he tries to chase down the pack. All a bit spread out now. Dan Bartosh has half a second lead over Eric Ronenberg. Stuart Court is now 3 seconds behind in 3rd place. Whoop, and I believe that's Ryan Dudley gone wide there. Paddock Bend, he just took too much. So he's now lost. He's down nearly a second on Tony Lamb. And Tony is attempting to get past Dan Wareham here. Not quite going to make it, unfortunately. Close battling here with Mark Proctor and Lee Rylands. As they come up through Wagon Bend, Lee Rylands trying to go to the outside, which will be the inside as we come down the chute. No, he opts to stay behind Mark there. Tries to get him under braking, but doesn't quite get alongside. Coming round into the carousel, Lee Ryland still close on the tail of Mark Proctor. Mark holding him off through the S's. Further back of the pack, Michael Elms is trying to chase down Dave Clark, and it looks like he's got him on the inside. Yeah, Michael Elms has successfully overtaken Dave Clark as we come up the home straight, with Pete Woodmore a good couple of seconds behind them there. Whilst back up front, Eric Ronenberg's taken the lead from Dan Bartosh. So Eric is now out front as we come up to Wagon Bend. Stuart Court and Dan Wareham just go slightly off track there as they come up the hill. Down into the chute, Eric Ronenberg is now starting to pull away. He's got half a second up on Dan Bartosh. Further back here, we've got Stuart Briley chasing Rob Sutherland down. Come round into the carousel. Stuart Briley is right on the tail of Rob here, keeping him under pressure. Can you get Rob to make a mistake? Come through the S's. up into Paddock Bend and onto the home straight. I think Rob's got enough of a gap there that Stewart's not going to get in the draft and not going to get to overtake him, unfortunately. Okay, back up front on Dan Wareham. Dan's back on the tail of Stuart Court here. Under half a second between them, and Eric Ronenberg is now under pressure from Dan Bartosz again, who's made up some ground. Really close battling here between first and second, third and fourth. There's action all over the place. We're going to go and switch and have a look. Mark Proctor is now under pressure from Lee Rylands as they come round the chute into the carousel. Lee Rylands really putting the pressure on Mark Proctor. Come through the S's. But I think Mark Proctor's got the better of him here. He's just going to hold him off. The field's starting to spread out a bit now. We've got over half a second between first and second, and a whole second and a bit between between second and third, and then another half a second back to Dan Wareham. We're all starting to get a bit strung out now. Lee Rylands trying to put pressure back on to Mark Proctor, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. Let's go back up to Dan Wareham and see how he's getting on with his battle with Stewart up in third and fourth. As they come through the chute, and the tight left-hander into the carousel, but Stewart's managing to fend off Dan Wareham here. For every couple of tenths Dan's managed to make up, Stewart's pulling away again. Making for a tough old race, really. Ryan Dudley trying to make a move here. Is he going to get past? He does get past Tony Lamb. See the rear view from Ryan Dudley. Tony Lamb trying to desperately hold on here. Doesn't look like it's going to happen though. She'll come further back down the field in 8th place. Lee Rylands on the back of Mark Proctor. There's less than half a second between these two as they come through the carousel. And through the S's. Lee Rylands desperately trying to close the gap. Mark Proctor holding him off well. Back in the AM category, got 11th place. Stuart Briley is holding out there. So he's first in AMs, 11th overall at the moment. He's a second and a half ahead of Michael Elms. And then a good 3 seconds or so back to Dave Clark. Under no real danger there. As we go back up front, Dan Bartosz now under pressure from Stuart Court. Stuart's close on his tail here as he gets to try and go up the outside of Dan. Oh, he nearly has him. And then close behind, you got Dan Wareham as well. So Dan Bartosz severely under pressure here. He's now 7/10 down on Eric Ronenberg as he tries to fend off Stuart Court and Dan Wirham. But Stuart Court comes at him again as we come through Paddock Bend. And here we go. Stuart Court goes to the outside. And is he going to take him? And Stuart Court has got past Dan Bartush. As we come into T1, Dan Bartush is fighting back, holding on the inside. Not sure it's going to be good enough. And it isn't. Stuart Court is now ahead. Dan Bartush followed by Dan Wirham. Dan Wirham's now got Stuart Court under pressure as well now. So Eric Ronenberg out front. 0.8 of a second back to Stuart Court. Very closely followed. Oh my, what's happened there? Dan Bartush got taken out by Dan Wirham. Looked like a bit of an accident to me. Nothing, bit of a racing incident. Nothing too much in it as they were braking in the chute, coming round for the carousel. Very unfortunate there. That leaves Eric Ronenberg way off out front now. Over a second ahead of Dan Wirham. Dan Wirham's now got a second and a half on Ryan Dudley. Really stretched out now, the field. There's nobody within half a second of each other, as the field is pretty much stretched out across all 21 entries. Oh, Michael Elms has had a little excursion here by the looks of it. Pete Woodmore still losing places back into 13th. Just trying to put Michael Elms under a bit of pressure, but not sure that's going to happen there. As Stuart Briley leads the AM class. Pete Woodmore trying to put pressure back on Michael Elms. As he comes around the outside into the chute. Michael Elms has lost it on the inside. Not sure there was any contact there. Good recovery from Michael. Gets back on track. Unfortunately loses a couple of places. Dave Clark is in front. And now Scott Kostrick is right on his tail. And Scott's got to go up the inside through the carousel and into the S's. Take another place off Michael Elms. Whilst back up front, Eric's now under pressure from Stuart Court. We've got just under 10 minutes to go still here. Stuart is just not giving up. Putting massive pressure onto Eric. These guys gave us some fantastic racing in race 1. And they're not backing off in race 2 either. It's looking really good as they come through the S's. And they come up into Paddock Bend, up into the start-finish straight. Here they come now. Up into the start-finish straight. Not sure Stuart's close enough to make a move going into T1. Not unless he does the last of the late braking. No, it gets up on the curb, loses some traction. That's reflected in the gap, which has now grown to over half a second from Eric. Kostrick here trying to make a move on Dave Clark. He's pulling up, and then closely behind them you got Michael Elms and Niels Kula having a fight. Oh, Dave loses it as we go into Wagon Bend. Goes out onto the gravel. And as we come round into the chute, he's under severe pressure from Scott. We come round into the carousel. Scott's going to dive up the inside. Is he going to make it? Not yet as we come into the S's. But he's right close now as we come up Paddock Bend. And Scott Kostrick overtakes Dave Clark as we come up the start-finish straight. Stuart Briley under pressure from Peter Woodmore further up the field. Let's go back to the front of the race. See how Eric's getting on, fending off Stuart Court. Stuart is not giving up now. Not at all. Five minutes to go. Stuart is trying to put more and more pressure onto Eric as we come into the start-finish straight. Some really close racing here. It's closer and closer. Makes a feint for the inside. Stuart does. Eric didn't even twitch. Just stayed his line. Oh, and Eric's just lost it there. Did Stuart put him under enough pressure? Eric just lost it. Going into the first corner. And now Stuart is off. He is a second and a half ahead of Eric Runenberg, last year's pro winner and overall winner at season 6. Mark Proctor putting Dan Bartosz under pressure. Back in 6th and 7th. Dan Bartosz has had a bit of a rough race. Been taken out by Dan Wireham earlier, which was unfortunate. Mark Proctor now trying to get on terms with him. As we come through Paddock Bend up into the start-finish straight. Mark Proctor may have some traction coming out of here. Be able to get in the toe. Can he take Dan on T1? It's very close. And Mark goes up the inside. And does he complete it? It's a tough one. They're neck and neck as they come up Woodbend. Mark doesn't quite complete the move there. Goes, switches back to the outside. We come into the chute. No, and it's not quite happening. Meanwhile, Pete Woodmore and Stuart Briley. Oh, Stuart Briley just loses it as we come up. We've been there. Oh my dear. So Pete Woodmore's got all the gaps now. Right, coming in the final couple of minutes. And we've got Stuart Court being chased down by Eric Runenberg. Eric nearly does him under braking into turn 1. It's very close with Dan Wirham following up there. As they come up Woodbend, there's literally half a second between each of these guys. Oh, Dan Wirham goes a bit wide. Stuart Court is fending him off, but Eric is getting ever closer, piling on the pressure. Minute and a half to go. Can Eric force a mistake out of Stuart Court here as we're getting towards the end of race 2? Getting closer and closer. Eric goes slightly wide but may get the better traction because of that. And now he's very close and he goes up the outside as he takes Stuart Court down the start finish straight into turn 1. And he's got him on what will be the final lap, but Stuart Court is fighting back. He's not giving up an inch. Absolutely amazing stuff from these guys. Eric closely followed by Stuart, and he's right on him. There's nothing you... Eric's rear view is actually full of Stuart Court, and Dan Wirham is close behind as well. Absolutely amazing action here. We come up around Paddock Bend for what must be the final time, I think. Yep, the flag is out, and that is it. Eric Ronenberg gets his first win of season 7. Dan Wirham gives a little wiggle there. So good race, and it was a good race. Stuart Court in 2nd, Dan Wirham in 3rd. Then we have Ryan Dudley, Tony Lamb, unlucky Dan Bartosh, Mark Proctor flashing his lights there, Jack Holland's just disconnected there. Rob Sutherland coming in a respectable 10th place. Scott Kostrick. Oh, and the AM winner for race 2, Dave Clark, comes across the line. Poor old Stuart Briley lost some places there. Didn't happen for him today. Then we've got Dan Forster, Chris Thorpe, Niles Cooler, Stuart Briley, Adrian Hetfield, Michael Elms, Neil Kennedy, and Mr. John Johnston. So there we go, guys. That's the end of race 2. Fantastic race there from all of these. Really entertaining, really close racing. Hope you can join us next time. Let's chuck up the results if we can. And there we go. Winner of race 2 is Eric Ronenberg, followed by Stuart Court, Dan Wirham, Ryan Dudley, Tony Lamb, Dan Bartush, Lee Rylands, Mark Proctor, Jack Holland. And Rob Sutherland makes your top 10. They're all pro. Scott Kostrick is in 11th as a pro, and Pete Woodmore 12th as a pro, which means Dave Clark comes in 1st place for the AM. So well done, Dave. That is good going. And at the back there we have Michael Elms, Neil Kennedy, and running up with 3 laps down, John Johnston. Thanks everyone. Hope to see you out next time for exciting race 3 of the Tanso Racing Coupe GR86. If you want to join in, it's free to enter. Go over to tansoracinggroup.co.uk. You'll find a sign up button there. Come and join us. We also have TCRs on a Wednesday night at 8 p.m. and there's a load of endurance races you can get involved in with us as well. Thanks for watching.